looks like we are live. All right, let me just get things going here. I know this is whether you're watching it live or you are following it up on the YouTube channel, or if you're just checking it on the Flipping Blueprint group page on Facebook. You can still ask your questions and I will answer them as I see them. And you can always reach out to me on Facebook. So, as you guys join in, just let me know if you can hear me okay. I always like to do a sound check. And we have just joined in. I'm gonna get my coffee together. Hello, Renee. Hey, Mark. How you doing, bud? I see that Facebook allowed you to use emojis and things again. They didn't put you in jail for posting too much. That's always nice. You guys all hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up or give me a just a comment letting you know you hear me. All right. Hey, Junior, how you doing, bud? All right. So today we're going to talk about partnerships. Last week we did one of these lives about money, different types of ways to find money, raising private money. I gave a shout out to my buddy Keith, who just had written a book about private money called Private Money Secrets. Great book, definitely recommend it. But I wanted to take it. Some of you guys have asked me questions, and I actually had a few different friends reach out recently to me on how to structure some creative deals. And I started thinking about it and going off of some of your guys' comments and some of the stuff I have in the works right now made me think, okay, you know what? Let's talk about partnerships because I've been doing partnerships for a very long time in real estate, whether I knew it or not, from all the way in the beginning to now. I love partnerships. It allows me to do more deals, and more deals allows me to make more money. Um, the thing with partnerships is you always have to understand what each party is bringing to the table. And we'll talk about a few different ways we do partnerships, things I've done in the past, things that you guys can do, whether you're new or experienced. And I'm going to kind of take it off of where we left it last week, talking about private money. So bohemian, yes, Ryan. It's cold in Vegas. I got to wear my scarves again. Um, what's your opinion on the flipper doing half the labor instead of using contractors for the whole flip? Well, I would say you're going to lose money doing it and taking too much time. That's what I would say about that, Philippe. Hey, hello, Yvette Hansen, waving at me. So let's talk about a few different partnerships, right? The one that we kind of touched on last week with private money is a partnership in itself. You find the deal, you're gonna run the construction, you're gonna run the process of buying it and selling it, and you have somebody that comes in with the money, right? They are your money partner on the deal. We've done those for, gosh, I've probably been doing those type of deals for 15 years. Whether I had the money bringing to that deal, or I had private investors bringing me money to my deals. And those are the most simplistic partnership. Uh, you have something, you have the property, time, and experience. Somebody else has the money, most likely not the time or the experience. It's a great partnership, it works. The second partnership that I want to talk to you after that is gap funding, right? A lot of you guys, I know a lot of you have read my book and a lot of you have experience. So some of these I'm not going to go into a ton of detail, but gap funding is where um, the developer is what we call them. That's the flipper, the investor. The developer has a property. They've got financing lined up. It might be a hard money loan or a standard traditional loan, but they're only bringing 70% of the funds needed for the deal. And then there's another 30%. That's the gap. So you find a private money lender again, who comes in with that 30% of the money needed for the deal, and they gap the remaining amount. Still, they sit most likely passively. That's how I like it. I want my money partners to be passive, and I'll tell them straight up, I want your money, not your mind. Some of them, if they can't handle that, and they want to be part of it, they're not the right partner for me because I can handle it all on the construction side, the marketing side, all that kind of stuff. I don't want their mind. I don't want them to come in and try to tell me, oh, let's paint it this color. Nope, nope, you're making a mess of it. Get away. Just want your money. But that's gap funding, and that again, that's another type of partnership, and it works out really well. And it works because there's not a lot of people that have $200,000, $250,000, $500,000 available to fund an entire project. There are just not that many people out there, but a lot of people might have 30,000, 70,000, 100,000, and that can be the gap for a project. Ryan, I know you're on here. You shouted out. I know your average project, I think, is around $700,000, give or take, for your purchase and construction, somewhere in that range. So a lot of times you don't come in with all $700,000 cash unless you have an angel investor that probably has $5 to $10 million and you're doing a few deals with them. What you typically do is you get a hard money loan for 500,000, 600,000, whatever it is, and someone else comes in with another $100,000 or $200,000 and gap funds it. And you can either pay them interest and points like you would a traditional lender, or maybe you pay them a portion of profit. You split the end result 50%. As you're starting off on these partnerships, you got to figure out how much power you have and who really needs who. And the more you need them, the less power you have, and the more you typically have to give. So just be aware of that. Hey, Mike, using gap funding on 3 deals right now makes life really easy. Yeah, if you stretch yourself too thin as a real estate investor, I mean, if there's deals everywhere and you're like, oh man, I want that deal and this deal and that deal and that one, and you're out of money and you're stressing at home and you're trying to finagle checks and bills and all this kind of stuff because you're trying to keep all the profit for yourself, it's not worth that stress. I've been there. I tried to do that, and then I started bringing in more private money. I'm like, oh, this is so much easier. I've got all my money where I want, and I can do whatever I want with it. And the deals are all funded. Yeah, I'm giving up a little bit of profit, but that's okay because it's allowing me to do more deals. And that's really what partnerships are about, allowing you some freedoms, some peace of mind, and being able to do more deals, which at the end of the day should really make you more profit. Let's see. I'm just kind of trying to hit your notes as you're putting them in there. Let's see. Sohail, I think that's your how you pronounce it. I hope that is. Currently reading the Flipping Blueprint. Let's see. Manny, it's great if you're not planning to flip more than 4 houses a year. Yeah, a lot of this stuff, again, it comes down to how big do you want to be, or what resources do you have at your at your fingertips. What can you do? So private money lenders, gap funding, those are the simple partnerships. Something that we started doing, it's 2020, almost done with 2020, thankfully. Yay, 2021, let's have that happen. I think it was about 6 years ago when we started partnering with some wholesalers. And what they would do is they'd find a deal and they'd bring it to us, and instead of charging a wholesale fee, they wanted to learn basically how we were flipping houses. And they'd bring the deal, they'd assign it to us for a $0 fee, and we'd buy it, throw it through our system. The wholesaler would get to learn how the flip process works, all of the ins and outs, all the costs and time frames and all that kind of stuff. And then we would do a profit split with the wholesaler. And at the end of the day, the wholesaler, the plan is always that the wholesaler ends up making more money than they would on just a wholesale fee. So that's a partnership that we always liked because that helped grow us even more because it was just another source for properties. We get properties cheaper up front. We share profit. I would, in those situations, I'd come in with basically all the resources. The wholesaler brings the property. I bring everything else because I'm showing them how the system works. I've got the money. I've got the contractor. I've got all the connections for closing. I know how to get utilities and insurance on, how to manage the property, how to get the landscaping done. All those ins and outs of the flip that a lot of people just don't understand actually happens in a flip. Um, if you here in Vegas, a lot of people don't even think about their landscaping, but it's like, okay, well, hang on, that property's got grass. So I know my landscaping budget isn't going to be $100 a month, it's going to be $250 a month. So 6 months long is the standard project that we estimate for, so that's another $1,500 in costs. If you're not figuring out all your costs and know that ahead of time, you don't really know if it's going to be a deal. All right, I'm going to take a breath. You all talk amongst yourself, ask any questions you want as I have a drink of my delicious coffee. And thanks for everybody for joining in. I hope this is helpful for you. That's really why I'm doing this. Um, I like giving back and I like connecting with more people. I know over the course of the last couple years, I've had a lot less of this, especially as COVID hit this year. I stopped doing my sips and flips that I was doing, our meetups in Vegas, all that kind of stuff just kind of disappeared. But I want to get back into that, reaching back out to you guys and connecting with more people in the business. That's really my end goal for that. That's what I get out of this is I get more connections. So that's why I'm doing this. So please ask your questions because I want you to make sure you're getting something out of this too, besides just staring at me. And if I do look really tired today and I'm having my third coffee, it's because my son had a early hockey practice this morning. But that's something I love doing, and that's one of the reasons why I'm in this business to do what I want. Um, yeah, I saw that, Manny. All right, so partnerships with wholesalers. For you flippers who have experience and have done deals, that's really a great way to do more deals because you have to decide where your time is really the best spent. What are you best at? And some of you might not be great at going to people's houses and whining and dining them until they sign that contract or scaring the bejesus out of them that somebody's going to take their house from them. And we all know how it works, right? There's all different ways and all different sales techniques. But at the end of the day, some of you might not be good at it. Some of you might not like doing it. Some of you might not want to do it. And you'd rather buy houses from wholesalers or off of the MLS or wherever you can find them, pocket listings, all different kinds of things. But having another source of properties is really great. That's why, and I've always bought from, I've probably bought, I don't know, 200 houses from wholesalers, something like that. I don't even know what the numbers are anymore. And it's actually probably more than that. I support the wholesalers, but I've always been educating people too. So it's like, okay, you want to know how the flip goes. You want to see how it goes along. Well, you got to pay for that, Mr. Wholesaler. This is kind of a partnership, right? I need more than just the property. I want to make sure that I make a little bit more off of it too, so that it pencils out for me. Because if you're going to wholesale to me at a price where I make $40,000, I'm not going to necessarily partner with you to make $25,000 because you're only charging a $10,000 wholesale fee or whatever the case is. It still has a pencil for me. Because there's time involved to teach people and there's those non-tangible things. Now the other side of that is you have to understand what the other party is doing. I understand what it takes to get a wholesale contract and to market and deal and bring in properties and 100 leads and you get one closed finally, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of costs and time and energies, non-tangibles, and it goes both ways. So if you're asking me questions on, well, how do I turn the power on at the property? Oh wait, no, there's no power meter. What do I do next? It's all that kind of stuff that, okay, this is our process. You can be as involved as you want on the wholesale side, but we're not going to do it to the detriment of the property because we want to move that project along. Because I want to show you how this really should work. That's what you should get. And at the end of the day, we go through accounting with that partner, show them all the expenses and what the final net is, and we sign off on it, close the deal, and move on and hopefully do more. I've actually done that with wholesalers where after the third one, they're like, I got it. I'm going to do it myself from now on. I'm like, awesome, man. It was fun. Go get it. Got no problem with that. Partnerships are on a per deal basis typically. Let's see. You're welcome, Mark. Why do I need to look for one when one lender is giving me great rates and cover 100% of the deal and repairs? Manny, if you've got all the money in the world, maybe you don't need private lenders. I mean, that's it. I mean, I'm always open to more money because I like cheaper money. That might be a reason to keep looking for money. But if you've got it all covered, you're good. But there's other things that you might need. You might need more contractors. You might need more properties, all that kind of stuff. So that's one thing for partnerships for you if your money is taken care of. I mean, I've got great money rates and plenty of it. So it's got to be some pretty dreamy money that comes in. And for us, also the part of it was the ease of the money. I don't want somebody that's going to be charging appraisals and have to inspect for construction draws and all this kind of stuff. Just give me the money and get out of the way. I'll pay you back. And I've got the track record for it. So then I was able to demand that. So Manny, ease of the money is also something that should come into play on your aspect. When I come back to Vegas for a day or two to learn some things side by side, Michael, yeah, definitely, bud. Shout out to me when you're coming into town, and let's chill for a bit. It was fun having you here last time. What did you say your split with the wholesaler was? 50-50? Marcus, it really depends on the deal, the profit lines, all that kind of stuff, and the complexity of the project. If it's a simple lipstick, we would do 50-50 sometimes. But if it's let's say it's a $150,000 remodel, we're putting out a lot of cash for it. It's a very complex property. It's going to take a lot of hand holding and extra time. Maybe we do 70-30 or something like that for the profit split. We really do look at each project on an individual basis. And yeah, Mark, everyone brings value to a deal. If you don't bring value of some sort into the deal, you really shouldn't be in that deal, to be honest. We've had people where they try to weasel their way into a deal, like, hey, I know this guy and I know this guy, and I get an equal share. It's like, well, hang on, you're not bringing anything to the deal. Okay, I met this guy, I'm good, he's good, we can do all this, but now you're just trying to play middleman and you're muddying it all up. And you know what? Here's $1,000, $5,000, whatever. There's basically a finder's fee. Get out of the way. Let the big boys play. We've had those situations. So if you're not bringing value, you got to figure out how you can bring value to a deal. Sometimes it is just a connector and looking over somebody's shoulder, but it all varies. Philippe, is this the right time to flip, or should investor wait until the pandemic is over? I'm flipping right now. I know there's a whole bunch of people in here right now that are flipping as well. So I would say if you've got a deal, it's a great time to flip. I just ran the numbers for the Las Vegas inventory of single family residences, and there's 1.24 months of inventory available on the market right now. In case you don't know what that means that it is very, very low. It is a seller's market. So me, when I go to sell my properties, I can demand a whole hell of a lot. I get top prices. I don't have to do repairs. I can pick my pick of the the sales offers that come in. There's cash buyers coming in. There's buyers coming in waiving finance and appraisal contingencies, all kinds of things. I think it's a great time to buy. Each market's different. You got to do your research. I've always said that. Let's see. Skin and skills, you know it, bud. How do you make sure the wholesaler makes more than just selling it to a mother flipper? To another flipper, I believe is what you're saying, Marcus. I don't make sure that they make more than just selling it to another flipper. That's on them, but what they get with it is education. So if they've never flipped a house, that's one of the things that is typically a draw for wholesalers, to learn how to flip a house, where the contractor is, and how to deal with them. The choice is made, and some of it is why that choice was made. So there's profit plus knowledge, and a lot of people feel like they need that to move themselves to the next step if that's what they want to do. Danny Travis, what did I miss? How do we make money in real estate? Carefully. I hope it's both of you guys on there and not just one of you, because I know you got that shared name and it's very confusing. In case you guys don't know them, they do a lot of deals too. So then they're in Vegas and they're friends. Um, let's see, where was I? Okay, yeah. So wholesalers. Um, I hope that's understood. Like wholesalers want to taking it to learn how to flip houses. That's a great partnership for you if you already are a flipper or a wholesaler, either part of that spectrum. Partner up with somebody that's doing something successfully so you can learn how to do it, but you're probably bringing something to the table there. Let's see. uh, so you guys are asking, Luke, what's your marketing cost right now? Our PPC is killing us. Yep, I have not done PPC in 8 months, bud. I pulled mine when COVID hit, and I was already not real in love with it for the 6 months prior because the costs were what they were, but the profit per deal was going down. You got to really track your KPIs, your key performance indicators. If you guys don't know what those are, it's your how much is my deal costing me for marketing? How many dollars do I spend for my leads? How many leads does it take to close one deal? And figuring all that out. I'm not doing PPC right now, and Vegas got real expensive and real competitive with it. I'm I loved it. It was great for a while, but it got worse and worse, and I'm just not interested in spending on PPC right now. So I sorry, bud. Maybe you should ask that question 8 months ago, but I didn't know if for sure we were gonna not go back into it. It really does vary on what your strategies are, what your overheads are, and all that kind of stuff. I know you guys have different options for marketing, but again, this is all part of how to do more deals through partnerships. Um, yeah, so I would love to wholesale, but scared shitless to make a mistake. Just Nefertari Latoya Thomas, um, you are going to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. We've all made mistakes and we continue to make mistakes. Don't be afraid of it. The only thing you should be afraid of is inaction. Take action, move forward. If you screw up, and then you keep moving forward, but you learn from it. I think everybody in here has made mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Don't worry about it. So just start taking action. That's the biggest thing. And I know a lot of the people in here that are commenting and participating. Some of you, I've actually witnessed your mistakes, and we've talked about it and gone through back and forth with things to help you out and move you forward. But um, don't be afraid of making mistakes. So just keep doing taking action. That's the biggest part. Um, Manny, your top three marketing for finding houses. Um, Networking has always been a huge one for me, and networking for me includes everything from wholesalers to realtors to off market properties, all that kind of stuff. Marketing's my number one, or networking is my number one source right now. Going out, connecting with people, talking with people, and again, really over the last 2 years, if I'm truly honest about it, I've scaled all that back as we're growing other businesses and doing a few other things, and now I'm getting really back into my roots of networking and reaching out to people and getting deals coming in that way. I would say digital marketing. Even though I'm not in love with PPC right now, we still do digital marketing. We have some websites that we've had for a number of years that continually bring in leads for us. So that's something out there. We do a few other different placement marketing kind of things that bring in leads, and very specific driving for dollars or small list marketing postcards. That'd be our top three ways to get deals. But partnerships is another way. Let's see what else. Oh, you know what? One of the ways that we get do more deals and have more partnerships is with other flippers. And it's how people that believe in competition. Uh, won't understand this because for me, it's not competition. We're all in the business. There's plenty of deals out there for everybody. Now, I know there's other flippers here in Vegas that have limited resources, whether it's money, time, just the capabilities, limited on contractors, all different types of things. But for us, if another flipper says, "Hey, I've got this deal, I just can't take it down. It's a great deal. Do you want to run it and then give me a profit split?" It's kind of think of it like it's almost a wholesale fee, but they're still involved in it. Some people want the recognition of the deal going in their name because it builds credibility, it builds your brag book, it helps you with your financing down the road. Like, oh yeah, we've done 25 deals this year. And if it's closing in your name, because the big lenders actually do look for that, it helps them. But if it's not closing in your name, you don't get credit for it. So they might not have the resources, but I come in with, hey, you know what? It's in your name. We do a partnership agreement. I'll run the whole project. We do everything. We knock it out, and at the end of the day, we net it out and do some sort of profit split. And again, those profit splits all depend on the risk calculations within the project itself. Could be 50-50, could be 70-30, could be 80-20, could be a flat fee. I'll give you 10 grand when we're all done, and I get the rest. Or, things like that. That's for you to decide on the projects because it all depends again. What are you bringing to the project? What's the other person bringing to the project? Let's see. Easiest way to find reliable and affordable contractors. Uh, with contractors, you can have three things. Now, I say this, we also have a contracting business. We're a general contractor here in Las Vegas. But typically, let me say it like that. Typically, with a contractor, you can have three things. You can have quality, you can have price. Gosh, what's the third one? Anybody? Let's see if I can get some quality, price. What's the third? Come on. Who's got number three? Quality, price. What's the other more important thing here with flipping with a contractor? Nobody? Nobody? Time. Availability. Are they available? Are they going to get it done in your amount of time? Those are really like the three things. So to find reliable and affordable contractors, you got to go through a bunch. You got to ask for referrals. There you go. Speed. Um, it Yeah, you want to find somebody that can do the project number one, that is experienced and can do it. Because the reason to hire a contractor and not to sub it all out yourself is so you don't have to manage it, so they can knock it out for you, and you can do what you're best at, which should be finding deals, or maybe you are a contractor and you can handle all that, and you need somebody else to find the deals. You go to your strengths, but to get a contractor, hire fast, fire faster. Yeah, when you're working with a contractor, it really takes three projects to find out if they are really good. That's kind of what been my experiences, and that's not just here in Vegas. We've done, I think it's 13 or 14 different states now, and each one has its own subtle nuances to the contracting. Some states you just pay a $60 licensing fee, and boom, you're a contractor. You're a general contractor. You got a license, go for it. Other states, like Vegas, is very rigorous on the testing and what you have to do to pass it, the insurance. There's a contractors board that's very strict, all kinds of things. So each state is very different on that, and that does go to the quality of the contractor in those states a lot of times. Reliability, if there's nobody breathing down their neck to make sure that they do their work right, a lot of times they don't do their work right and they're not timely, but they could be very expensive too. So that's a whole nother phone call or whatever this is, Facebook Live for contractors and contracting. But you know what? That actually brings up another partnership. Something that we've done in the past is with our construction company. We have partnered with flippers who didn't have the funds to pay for their flip. So basically, we gap funded the project by running all the costs of our construction company ourselves. We pay for our own construction, And then at the end of the day, when that property sells or they refinance it for a rental property, it ends up being like we get paid out as basically a second mortgage or gap funder, however you want to word it. But the idea is that the flipper didn't have to come out of pocket for the construction. They still have their holding costs, their electric bills, their insurance, their mortgage, all that kind of stuff. But we took care of the construction and got paid at closing. And then there's a cost to that because it's our money out of pocket and there's risk for us. So there's a profit share or a percentage markup on the construction. That's something that we've done for a few different flippers here in town. For as far as a partnership goes. So it's a lot of contractors can't do that because they don't have money and they need that weekly check from you to pay their guys and hopefully buy materials for the next week of construction. Let's see. Family. What, in your opinion, are the top lead sources for buying leads online? Ooh. Timothy, there's so many different lead sources out there now, and a lot of them pull from similar sites. We actually talked about this before in I think last week's, and we've had a few posts in the Facebook group about it too. Scrub your list. No matter where you're getting your leads from, you make sure you scrub that list, because I get mailers all the time from people saying they want to buy a property that I bought 9 months ago, did the remodel, flipped it, sold it, and so it's been out of my name for 6 months already. But I get a mailer 9 months later after when I bought it saying, "Hey, I saw you bought this property," or "Hey, I see you own this property. Will you sell it to me, or do you want to buy some more?" I mean, it's just not good marketing because that. Anyways, that's a whole other thing. But the main thing on that is scrub your list. No matter where you're going, there's again that's a whole nother call, guys. But there are definitely tons of lead sources out there. Take a look at how cheap they are, success rates. Take a look at whatever list you do buy and go through it and see if it seems like a legit list or not. If you start making phone calls off a list, you pull phone numbers and 80% of your phone numbers that you call of the first 100 are disconnected or the wrong people, I'd immediately go back to that lead source and say, "Hey, your list is shit. Like, give me my money back." They'll usually not give you money back. They'll just give you another 500 or 1,000 list numbers, things. So just be prepared for that. Time, speed. Oh, now all the answers come in slowly. What's your thought on the future of wholesaling considering states starting to make it illegal? There's always ways to do things. That's it's simple as that, Manny. There's always ways. Assigning contracts is just part of it, but these partnerships are actually a great way around that. Because wholesaling, assigning contracts, a lot of it is assigning a contract for a profit. So when you partner and you just change the name on the contract, that usually fixes that for some. Each state's a little different. You got to really go dig into that. I know Illinois was the big one about 3 years ago, I think it was now, maybe 2 years ago, that really started this big push. So start wholesaling them, take them down if you have the money, and just sell them on the MLS in a hot market. You'll be able to sell poor condition properties. Let's see, what else do we have? So one of my, we're going at this for a while. I'm going to lose my voice. Are you guys enjoying this? Is this good stuff? I hope so. I do want to get, I'm probably going to change the format getting into next year to make it a little more interactive. I'm not terribly in love with how Facebook does things nowadays. We do have the YouTube channel, the Flipping Blueprint YouTube channel that we're getting more videos on and going to be changing a few different things on that just to give you more resources. That's really the goal here. And for me, again, I do everything with purpose. So my goal on all this is networking. I meet great people through whether it's the book or through the Facebook pages or doing these lives. I get a lot of follow-up questions, all kinds of stuff, and it helps me reconnect with some old friends. But going to that, So I had a one of my former students when I was doing that. Uh, when I was doing yeah, Mark, I know Zoom. It's the issue with Zoom is that so many people are afraid to sign up, so that less people actually go on it. Because you see, I'm not collecting any email addresses or any of that kind of shit on this. Then people think that I'm going to mail them 700 times a week and try to sell them a course for 197, then 997, then a 299.97, and then finally a $25,000 mentorship. Um, but I'm not selling anything right now, and I don't have plans right now to do it. Uh, I feel like I want to do whatever reaches the broadest audience. That's kind of my goal here. But I do appreciate the feedback on that. I did have one of my former students reach out, and they've got basically an angel investor with a big old chunk of money that wants to create a rental portfolio. And they were trying to figure out how to structure that because they've got their business going and they already do flipping and wholesaling and wholesaling and all that kind of good stuff. But now they've got somebody that wants to do something very specific. Hey, I've got like a 5 year plan. We buy a bunch of properties right now, we rent them out, and then we sell them in 5 years, and we have a whole bunch of equity. So how do you get paid on that? How do you? Yeah, Mark, I'll put it in there. It's if you just go on YouTube and look up the flipping blueprint, that's where all that is. But again, I'll get a link on there again. So the student has a lot of money from a single investor, and that's the key in here. It is a single investor that has a very specific plan. He's got money. He doesn't need it for his daily living. It's let's just say it's $2 million, and he wants to buy rentals. Now the students, my students, my friends, are going to have to put in a lot of work because this guy's got the money. He's not going to bring any work. So how do they make money off of this? How do they make it a fair relationship, and how do they secure their interests? My suggestion on something like that, and this is something that we've actually done before, is you create a separate LLC where you and your business partners, whoever, and the money person are all on it. And you have to, when you're creating the LLC, you do have to determine shares and who can do what and various things. But the whole idea is that they put the money into the LLC, and now it's a full game plan of what's going to happen with the money. Over the course of the next 6 months, 3 months, 12 months, whatever, you're going to buy X amount of properties. Then they're either going to be fixers or they're going to be rent-ready properties, whatever the case is. And for each property that's purchased, the people who are doing the work get some money, and then rent starts coming in. Now the rent is split between each party. Maybe it's a 70-30 split of the net rent, something like that. And then at the end of the 5 years, maybe it's a 40-60, 80-20, who knows, whatever you can negotiate on that of the actual earned equity. Now, in 5 years, we don't know what the market's going to be. That equity could go down. So what if there's losses? That's always something you have to think about. But that's kind of the quick lowdown of how to structure somebody with money wanting to build rental portfolio, and the safest way that I know how to do it. Again, each state's a little different. You got to know where you're buying properties, the strategies for if you have to sell a property and the equity comes back to the company, let's say in year 3 or year 2, you have a couple properties that aren't good rental performers, and you just want to get them out of the portfolio. Do you replace them? Do you pull the money out? What if this investor who brought the $2 million needs to pull money out and you need to strategically sell properties sooner? All different kinds of scenarios can happen. And you really have to understand that in any partnership, things like that can happen too. And you have to be prepared for it. You have to have exit strategies, and especially on these long-term deals where, maybe I needed to take over all the properties, I refinance them into my name kind of thing, and you just get your original investment because, hey, you weren't in for the promised 5 years, so you don't get anything out of it besides just your money back, and I'll take over everything. All different things to do. All right, let me see. Yep, people can always reach out to me. Like I said, I'm going to start doing my sips and flips. I've had people come into town and we do sips and flips where we sit right over here and drink right over there, all the good stuff, and do a live video. I'm always open to that if you guys do come into town. Um, yeah, Mark, I am familiar, and Zoom has pluses and minuses to it, and I know they've definitely improved it with all the COVID stuff that's gone on from when I was really running a lot of classes and meetups in there a couple years ago. So that's probably what we will end up doing. It definitely gives a lot more options, and we'll see kind of how it goes. But yeah, I mean good the main thing here is that I just want to give you guys some more options to increase your businesses, more options to maybe do business with me. I don't know. There's all different kinds of things that you can do out there. You have to really understand what you bring to the table, what the other person's bringing to the table in any partnership, and it should be always an open dialogue. And if for some reason before you sign those papers you start feeling uneasy and your gut is telling you that maybe this isn't the right thing, get out of that. Get out of that before you get into it. It's okay to say no. Don't let the thought of there's that money there, but if it's a bad situation and it starts going south before it even gets started, just get out and move on. I can tell you that there's been plenty of partnerships that I could have had that I'm very glad that I did not have. If you're not seeing eye to eye with people at the start and they get testy with you, I think for those of you who know me, you know I'm a pretty easygoing guy, a fun guy. And if somebody starts being real negative right at the beginning, that's probably a way to get not in my favor. Steve, you're welcome. Does anybody have any last questions? I'll take one or two last questions before we close this up. I went a little bit long today. Oh my gosh, 2:45. This is fun. I do like talking. It's more fun when somebody's next to me and I'm drinking tequila instead of coffee, but I've got another hockey practice to go to tonight. The joys of doing what you want. But again, if anybody's got one last question or two, I am happy to answer them about anything. It can even be about my amazing slot machines I've got back here that I pulled out of a church that I bought. Yeah, William, even though you missed this one, it's going to be posted on the Flipping Blueprint group page, or not group page, actually it should be in there, but the YouTube channel will have these videos on there. Mark, I'm still waiting for you to come out to Vegas and we can have a good old time. And, I'll buy you a mustache comb and you can buy me a beard comb. How's that sound? Although I didn't comb here today because of the early start with hockey. All right, I'm not seeing any questions coming in. So I am going to call it. As always, I enjoy sharing with you guys. Ask questions, reach out to me. The best way to find me is on Facebook. If you are asking questions in a private message, I'm typically going to tell you ask it in the group page, because if you have that question, then guess what? Other people have that question too. And Gabe, yes, that is real coffee in there. I have not started drinking my tequila yet. So, all right, everybody, we're going to end this video, and as always, safe investing.